recordings one more time. Just a second. Okay.
Sorry, can I ask one question?
Yes.
All the rules which were applicable to the previous course is applicable for our course too.
Sure.
We should have more than 50% to get 2% per
Sure.
practice. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
So all requirements are the same for the first module and for the second module. Topics are different. Okay. Let's start with the exercise number 1. Christina is ready.
Yep, I'm ready. And I think that in the first task, we have a variable cost, since the cost of one unit remains unchanged and constant, and the total cost is growing.
So any questions from the group regarding the first exercise? I think it's clear why Christina is deciding that this is an example of variable cost. I think it's quite simple. Thank you very much for this. Tatiana wants to explain number 4. So if this number 4 is too big for you alone, you can find a couple of people to help you. If you are ready to present it alone, so you can start.
I can start actually, but I cannot share my screen, so
just a second. Let me change it.
Maybe I can just
no, Tatiana, you know you are able to demonstrate.
Okay. So I've just counted the fixed total costs and the variable total per group just by summing all of the costs, and I've decided that the graph should be like the mixed costs one, and this graph starts with the fixed total costs number with the 0 groups, and then is increasing with 405 per group. So here's the graph, and this is the result of this exercise.
So this exercise classified the graph to show the dependence between activity level and total cost. So it's okay. So thank you.
Thank you.
So what's for the previous exercises, for example, number 3 and 2, are you ready to explain, or it should be somehow discussed what is necessary to do? Question exercise 3 needs to prepare the contribution income statement. So the contribution income statement we have discussed during the previous practical session. You remember that the basic difference between traditional and contribution statement is the contribution margin calculation. So in June, the company is generating revenue, which is given, and price per one training group is also given. So company keeps no inventory, so it also simplifies a bit the task. So who can try to prepare this contribution income statement? What is the difficult point in this? So do you remember the format of the contribution income statement?
Yep, all of the costs are divided into fixed and variable.
So who can try to identify the total variable cost and total fixed for this company? Is it a problematic issue? What do you know about variable costs? So what is known about variable cost? So can we calculate the variable cost here?
Yes, they are given in the exercise 2.
Yes.
They already classified. And as I did, first of all, I decided to count the number of groups. So I divided revenue by price per one group and got 250 groups approximately. Then I just multiply this number I got by the variable per unit, which is also I got from the second exercise. So then I got less fixed costs in my contribution margin income statement, 156,000. And also I did with at a fixed cost and variable costs. I just multiplied and got 101,250.
Okay.
So yeah. So my income statement looks like that. Revenue is 300,250, less variable costs 101,250. Then contribution margin, I just subtract from revenue variable costs and got 199,000. Then less fixed cost is 156,000 and got net income equals to 43,000.
Okay. Polina, could you demonstrate your income statement, please, for the group?
Actually, I just handwritten that, and maybe we can discuss other exercises, and I'll just make it now.
I think it's you may simply type to chat what is the amount of contribution margin in net income.
Okay, then
just as clues to other students to check whether their solutions are correct.
Yeah, okay, then I'll just type it now.
So it's good. So now we know how to prepare the contribution income statement and what is special here. And the second exercise is, I think, the most discussable. So we have to calculate prime cost and conversion cost, calculate variable cost per unit, and total cost per unit. So of course, to complete this exercise 2, we may use a number of groups from exercise 3. And Polina, could you please type also number of groups that you have calculated for exercise? How could we calculate the number of groups? Okay, number of groups 250. So for the months, they have to organize group trainings for 250 groups. Of course, there could be several groups per day, different coaches responsible for different groups. So average fitness club is providing this number of groups very easily. So what about the second exercise? Who will try to make, I would like to say that exercise requirement number 2, calculate variable cost per unit. Who is ready to present? What should be included into variable cost per unit? Mm. But what is difficult here? What is the problem?
I think we just sum all the variable costs per group.
Sure.
And we get 405.
Okay, thank you. So, so this amount next could be used in free to calculate total cost and total cost per unit. So we have to sum up variable cost and fixed cost to calculate the total cost. So is it difficult? What is not clear? So our fixed costs would be the sum of all fixed costs per month. So we have to sum up all the expenses that are related to the period, and then some add to this amount company's variable cost per one group training multiplied by number of groups. It's clear that number of groups is equal to 150. And we will calculate the total cost. Then this amount we have to divide by number of groups again to obtain the total cost per unit. I think it's also clear. Then the question about prime cost and conversion cost. As this is not a production company, but the service company, what could be the prime cost here? Actually, this question is the most discussable in this set of exercises, but still, let's discuss. What is prime cost and what is conversion cost? How can we define them? So it's clear because we have discussed it in the first part of the class. But if we will be speaking about this fitness club, what would be their prime cost?
All the variable costs. Maybe
all the variable costs, because here we can see only direct expenses plus direct labor. And if we would be provided with the detailed information as, for example, cleaning or rent, what percentage of cleaning or rent is included to the manufacturing overhead, we would be adding this amount as well. Now we are not informed regarding the percentage of cleaning, which how many percents are related to the office premise and how many percents are related to the fitness hall. So now we cannot say what would be the manufacturing overhead or the office overhead. Probably all these expenses could be used as administrative and selling service and selling expenses. So our prime cost is actually the variable cost per one group training multiplied by number of groups. So it would be the prime cost. And the conversion cost would be what from this list? How can we define the conversion cost? What do we use to convert our direct materials to finished result of this service?
Maybe it's the sum of direct labor and manufacturing overhead.
Yes, and direct labor in our case is the salary to whom?
All the staff. It includes administrator, cleaning, and security guard.
Actually not. Our manufacturing expenditures are related only to the specified service, but salary of administrator and security guard is definitely the administrative cost, so it's not related to manufacturing, to our process of producing these services. So our conversion cost in that case would be only wages for coaches and some expenses, for example, salary for cleaning, amortization of equipment, if we would know what percentage goes to fitness equipment and for fitness premises, for example. If we would be informed that, for example, salary for cleaning is used only as cleaning of the fitness premises, we would be adding our salary for cleaning to manufacturing overhead and also amortization of equipment. And of course, rent, if we are informed that this amount is included, is paid only for the gym, for example, for the gym rent. In all other cases, we have to know the percentage of expenses that to split those expenses between office and the main activities of the firm. So otherwise, our conversion cost would be reduced because this information is really needed here. If we suppose that they rent only gyms and cleaning is doing the service only for equipment and showers and premises where our fitness equipment is placed, so we can add them to manufacturing overhead. This amortization of fitness equipment, salary for cleaning, and that's it. Advertising, design, and salary for administrator, salary for security guard is definitely defined to as administrative expenses and can't be used to conversion cost. They could be summarized a bit later when these firms will be calculating the total cost. I suppose exercise 5 is really similar to the previous, but it's more clear, I think, because it operates with the production sphere. And this exercise 5 is devoted to the production of food. So we have to classify each of the costs by nature, by functions, and by traceability. Is anyone ready to show us what is the result of this classification? So what is the division of expenses by nature. Who will try? So to what groups can we identify if we will use this principle of classification?
I could try maybe. If we classify by nature, we divide all expenses to the group's materials or labor, or just other maybe expenses. So meat will be the material. The other group of buns and pickles and onions also materials. Frozen potato strips materials. Wrappers, bags, packages materials. Other ingredients also materials. Part-time employees' wages will be labor. John Peterson's salary also labor.
Who is John Peterson and what is he doing here?
He's the supervisor. And I think, well, his salary is labor also.
Okay.
Okay, utilities maybe is expense.
Yes.
And rent is expense, depreciation, cooking equipment and fixtures expense. Advertising is also expense. Then janitor's wages will be labor. Janitorial supplies materials, accounting fees expenses, and taxes also expenses.
And what about these janitors' wages? So
is labor.
What is this person doing?
They clean the rooms, I think.
So actually their salaries could be expenses.
But why?
Because we include into labor and materials only those elements that are directly included into the product that we produce. But those persons would serve several departments, probably even office and our production area. It's clear that college students part-time that are cooking and filling orders, this labor is related to the main products, so it's clear. The supervisor is also managing orders, it's also clear. But these persons are providing the comfort for the total production area. And if this company probably would be renting the office, those persons would be cleaning the office as well. As accountant is making records regarding the business in total, his labor is not physically included into the finished products.
Okay, it's clear now.
For example, when college students cook those hamburgers, yes, their labor physically is included into the finished products. So it's a labor. But if we need to imagine the very long chain of steps that will lead us to the final product. So these expenses should be split later between different products as they are not physically included into the finished product.
Thank you.
So this was the classification by nature. And what about the classification? What is the second? By functions. So by functions, we have just two points, production cost and commercial cost. And what could be the commercial cost from this list? Polina, are you ready?
Actually, I would like to ask you one question. When we were classifying by nature, why janitorial supplies is materials, not expense?
They are expenses, janitorial supplies, expenses. We discussed these expenses.
Okay.
The same as wages. Yeah, because they are not physically included into the hamburgers. So production cost and commercial cost, who will try? I think from this list is clear that production cost is the whole list from the beginning till advertising, I think. And commercial cost will be also only advertising, accounting, and taxes, and all others would be production cost. Even these janitors' wages and supplies will be production cost because they serve production area as well. Commercial cost will be also only advertising, accounting, fees, and taxes. And by traceability,
will the John Peterson's salary also be a production cost? He's not producing anything.
Yes, but he is the production area supervisor. In that case, his salary is a part of manufacturing overhead, and therefore it's a production cost. It's included into manufacturing overhead. If he would be just an owner or the director of all the businesses, his salary would be the administrative salary. But here is clear that John Peterson is taking the responsibility of this manufacturing supervisor. So in this case, his salary should be assigned to the manufacturing overhead account. By traceability, we have to split expenses to direct and indirect. So I think it's clear that direct expenses could be included physically into the final product, and indirect would be accumulated and splitted later when the period will be over. I suppose it's clear. So this exercise 5, please complete it because it's also important. If we would have some questions, please use chat to ask questions. I think now time is almost over. Let me post the list of points for today. So see you tomorrow during the lecture. So I suppose it's your group, yes?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So see you tomorrow. We will keep the same story regarding the cost classification and start a new one about the exact cost accounting method. In case of questions, please use the same chat to ask questions. And good luck and have a nice week. Thank you.
Thank Thank you. Have a nice day. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.